Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it's your first time here. My name is Troy, and today I want to be diving deep into my dividend growth portfolio that I'm going to eventually use to retire early. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing everything you'd possibly want to know, including my current portfolio value, my best and worst performers in October and all time, what was bought in October, the dividends received in October, looking at the month over month and year over year progress of those dividends, and then lastly, I'll check on my career dividends received and even show you how my very own dividend snowball is coming along. Before I go any further, I want to know how much you guys made over the past month in dividends, and I'm going to share mine later in the video, so let me know down in the comments. But now, let's go ahead and see how this portfolio has grown so far in 2024. All right, and looking right here, you guys will be able to see the account balance and how it's grown so far in 2024. As I said, right here we had January with an account balance of $67,196.27. Concluding last month, that was up to $83,312.28. And concluding October, we're sitting at $86,699.77. That gives us a year-to-date growth of $16,503.50, which is up 24.56%. A month-over-month growth of just $387.49, which is just 0.47%. And as I mentioned many times before, keep in mind that $17,000 of this account balance is my emergency fund stored in SPAXX, collecting the current 4.47% interest rate, which is lower again than last month, but it's still higher than our historical average of about 1%. And this has been consistent for all of 2024, so we don't have to worry about it not being reflected in any of these bars that you see on the screen, so that's nice to see. Next, I want to show you guys how much money has been added to this account to invest for November with this right here. So as I mentioned, $17,000 of this account balance is my emergency fund, which can't be touched. Therefore, anything over that $17,000 mark can be invested, which you guys will see right here where it says available to trade. That means we have $900.69, nice, to invest for November. So now I want to show you guys what I have the pleasure of spending that money on, which I'll share with you right here. So looking at this screenshot, these are all 11 of my holdings. Currently, I have what I'm calling 9 active and 2 dormant holdings. Kinda. As I mentioned in previous episodes, I'm mulling through a pretty big portfolio change sometime in the future. So with that being said, I'm currently not adding to all the positions you'll see here, and I'll detail which ones I'm adding to a little later in this video. Next, I wanted to quickly show you my top and bottom 3 performers in this portfolio for the month of October, which will feed right into how they are doing for me all time. First, let's take a look at my third best performer over the past month, which is APD, or Air Products and Chemicals, which was up 3.61% over the past month. My second best performer for the month of October was AbbVie, that was up 4.7% over the past month. And my single best performer over the past 30 days is actually Visa, which was up 5.98% in the month of October. Now let's take a look on the flip side of the coin and see my worst performers over the past month, beginning with number 3, which is Pool Corp. That was down 3.82% over the past month. Then my second worst performer was actually Microsoft, that was down 4.67% over the past month. And the stock that lost me the most money over the past 30 or so days comes in as Next Era Energy, that was down 5.89%. Next, let's go ahead and see how these October performances impacted their overall total returns. First, by looking at my top 3 best performing positions. Coming in as my best performing position all time is Costco, that's up $2,526.42, or 52.31%. Keep in mind that's also my newest holding. Coming in as my second best performer all time is AbbVie, that's up $2,489.72, or 45.26%. And coming in, rounding out the top 3, my third best performer is ExxonMobil, that's up $1,328.44, or 37.26%. Now, of course, not every stock I picked can be great, so let's go ahead and see who's dragging this portfolio down with my biggest losers. Coming in as my worst performer all time in this portfolio is Pool Corp, that's down $110.67, or 2.04%. Coming in as my second worst performer all time is Starbucks. That's actually in the green, up $26.37, which is up a positive 0.6%. And my third worst performer all time is Next Era Energy. That's up $397.92, or 9.07%. Now, if you look all the way down here at the bottom right of this screenshot, you can see that this portfolio is in the green by $12,426.41, or 23.28%. last month, every single position in this portfolio was in the green, and we do now have one position down, which sucks, but I can't complain too much because having 10 positions in the green and one in the red isn't that bad. With all that green, let's go ahead and see how this portfolio is doing year to date and over the long haul with this right here. So with this screenshot, Fidelity did change their little total return performance tab on their website, but it still gives us the same information we're used to. So our time-weighted and money-weighted returns over the past month are the same, being down 0.6%, while the market, the S&P 500 was down 0.91, the Dow Jones was down 1.26, and the NASDAQ was down 0.49. So we were outperforming, if you will. Two of the three, we outperformed the S&P and the Dow by losing less money, and the NASDAQ lost a little bit less money than we did, but everybody lost money this month. So again, use the comment section down below to let me know if you actually had a green month. That'd be pretty impressive. So over the past month, we are in the red, but we did outperform 2 out of 3. Year to date, again, we focus on money-weighted returns here because of how I invest. I add money every month and every day to my portfolio. So money weighted best reflects that situation. So my money weighted year to date returns are 12.68%, which is outperforming the Dow Jones, but underperforming the S&P and the NASDAQ. Our 1 year to money weighted return is 20.93%. So you can actually see if I would have just done a 1 year lump sum investment, I would have been better off with my time weighted being higher than my money weighted. But nonetheless, money weighted is 20.93%, which is underperforming all 3 indexes, which you don't like to see. But here's the thing that's really interesting. My 3 year money weighted return is 13.99%, which is very good. So good, in fact, that it's outperforming all 3 indexes, the S&P, Dow Jones, and the NASDAQ, which you can see right there. And it's not even really that close. I'm basically at 14%. The best over the last 3 years is the S&P 500 at just over 9. So we're doing really good there. As I mentioned in the past, this portfolio seems to have some kind of downside protection, which I definitely did not do on purpose. I don't know what's causing that. I do want to look into that to see what's causing that. The downside protection is good when we're losing money in the markets, but I also have like capped upside, it seems, as you know, most of the markets are beating me, at least over the short and intermediate term. So yeah, we'll do that. But we did pass the Dow Jones year to date. There will be upcoming changes to the portfolio to help me try to compete with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ next year and going forward. But we still do have that really good long-term performance. Now let me go ahead and show you which of my holdings I did spend money on this month with this right here. So I'm not going to bore you guys going over every single number on this chart, but really quickly, you guys can see what I bought, how much I bought, what the average price of that was, what it added in forward income, and a bunch of things. So the most shares I added was with Next Era Energy, where I added 0.814 shares. The most money I spent was on Visa, where I spent $184.71. My biggest increase in forward income goes to Illinois Toolworks, or ITW, where I brought in an additional $1.81 thanks to my buys. And in total, I added 3.551 shares over the course of 19 trading days, spending $938.21, and I added $11.06 in added forward income. Now, let's go ahead and get to what you guys are all probably here for, the dividends. So October, actually 1, 4, 7, and 10, those months altogether are always my lowest income producing months. I only have one company that pays me dividends and I get my interest payment. So I only have 2 income sources in these months, if you will. So kicking things off on October 11th, Illinois Toolworks paid me $28.13. The previous time they paid me, just back in, July, was $24.63. So we have an increase there. This time last year, so last October, they paid me $18.34. And the first time ever that ITW paid me was just 34 cents. So you guys can see that nice growth. In total, I've now received $178.13 in career dividends from ITW, which comes out to 5.82% of the total dividends received in this account, which has earned me almost 3/4 of a share for free via the drip. Next up, and to conclude this month, on October 31st, the spooky Halloween, I received $67.35 in interest from SPAXX. The previous time they paid me was $68.88, so it is reducing. That has nothing to do with me picking bad holdings. That's just the interest rates coming down on the cash in the account. So we are starting to get a little bit less money. More on that later. This time last year, they only paid me $32.41. I think I had a lot less money in there. I don't think I fully transitioned my emergency fund into this account yet. So that was why that was so little. And the first ever time they paid me, it was just extra random money I had in the account. It was a whole penny. So obviously this isn't a position I'm really, tracking for growth more or less, but it is something I like to add to the income because it is passive. And I like to share it with you guys, obviously, because I, am transparent on the channel. So in total, I've now received $1,031.52 in career interest from SPAXX, which comes out to 33.69% of the total income received in this account, which is then used to add more shares of my other holdings. So you'll love to see that. Now, to start this episode, I wanted to know what you guys made for the month, and now we're going to add all these numbers up and find out that information for me. So let's check out this chart right here. So for the month of October, I ended up bringing in a total of $95.48, which is up 88.1% from this time last year. My previous related month, which was July, I brought in $98.50, which is actually down 3.07% from this month. And that's just because of less interest from SPAXX, as I mentioned earlier. The other related month, which would be April, I brought in $93.85, which we are now 1.74% higher than that now. And the first related month, which is January, I actually brought in $194.45, which means we're down 50.9% from that January to now. And this is largely because of the special dividend from Costco. I received $99.11 from Costco. So that's causing that difference there. So no, I didn't have any dividend cuts or anything. It was just Costco paid in January and they didn't pay any other month with that special dividend. So that's the difference there. So my year-to-date total with all those numbers added up is now up to $1,585.62, which is already 69.5% higher than 2023. And we still have 2 months left to finish out the year. If I do a little Excel witchcraft going on, I like to do an end of year projection based off of the numbers I'm currently getting. Now, keep in mind, I am smart enough to know I subtract that $99.11, the special dividend from Costco, because that's not something I'm going to get per month. And then I divide that by the number of months that we've had. And then I take that number and I times it by 12 to try to get this number. So it does change. I don't know how accurate it's going to be. I'm really curious by the end of the year to see which one of these projection numbers ends up being the closest. Obviously, the last one will be the spot on because it's the end of the year. But right now, our end of year projection is sitting at $1,783.81, which, if that holds true, that would be a 90.74% increase versus 2023. With that being said, let's go ahead and see how much I made in dividends in this account all time, and then take a look at the progress of my very own dividend snowball. So looking at this super simple chart, you guys can see that in my IBA, my retire early account, I have eclipsed the $3,000 mark in career dividends, which is super exciting for me. So we're at $3,061.58. I've actually gotten 13.404809 shares for free via the drip. The goal for that is I want to see if I can get my drip shares to as close to 15 as we can by the end of the year. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but we'll see. And I want to see, I guess the next milestone for me will be $3,250 in the IBA in this account for the end of the year. We'll see. I don't know. I'm just setting little goals to see where we go. So one thing that's actually going to feed into is what I want to show you guys, which I think is one of the coolest charts you'll see. And since I've not seen anyone else show this anywhere else on YouTube, we'll call it a Dividend Obsession exclusive. My chart for the Dividend Snowball. Since we passed $3,000 this month, I get to share updates to all 4 charts, but I'll make it quick. First, my buy 100 charts. The last update, I was averaging 54.6 days between $100 bills, and that's now down to 53.8 days. Next, looking at my buy 250s chart, last time I was averaging 141.2 days between $250 increments, and that's now down to 134.6 days. With the buy 500s chart, last time I was averaging 300.6 days between those $500 milestones, and now that's down to 269.2 days. And lastly, with the big boy, the buy 1000s chart, I was averaging 699 days between $1,000 increments, and now that's down to 538.3 days. All 4 of these charts continue to show the progress being made on my dividend snowball, both in terms of the size it's getting to, as well as the speed it's picking up, which I find extremely motivating. Make sure you keep coming back to the channel the first Monday of every month so you can keep up on my progress towards my goal of early retirement. With that being said, I really hope you guys enjoy these kinds of videos and all the information I share with you. I don't do it as a way to brag, but instead as a way to motivate you guys on creating your own source of passive income. If you guys enjoyed this video, a like is always super appreciated. And if you guys want to make sure you stay up with these kind of videos and my other dividend related content, make sure you guys subscribe as well. And before we go, if you guys happen to be in the market for super high quality dividend stocks, check out this video right here that comes out every Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. But until next time, see ya.